Hello, friends. I am happy to be here today. Happy to be indoor in my air conditioning, and I'm happy to be talking to you because I'm always happy talking to you. But I'm also happy talking to you because I've been quilting. And this room, while I have air conditioning in the house, this room doesn't get a lot of it. So I have a supplemental air conditioner in here, and I can't use it when I'm sewing because the iron and the air conditioner will not work on the same circuit, and all of my plugs are on the same circuit. So I just turned my air conditioning back on, and life will be lovely here. So let me turn on some comments. Hello, Dina. I'm glad you're here in Huntsville. I'm sure you're hotter than we are today, but we're hot enough. It's 90. They say it feels like 100. I don't know. I haven't been outside. Doesn't matter because I'm inside and sewing, and life is beautiful. So I have a few things to talk about today. I've been writing a list. Yay for AC. Yeah, I have air conditioning times 2. I have a second air conditioner just in my sewing room. My sewing room is at the end of my house, over a garage, under a roof, and has windows on 3 sides. So whatever temperature it is outside, it tends to want to be in here. I have supplemental heat, and I have supplemental air conditioning in here. Hello, Anne. And hello, Joan. It's good to see you. Let's see. Last week, I did a quick trip away to Mom's. Let's see. From Holden, Massachusetts. Hello, Anne. I was wondering what him was, but hello. I was a quick trip to Pittsburgh to hang out with my mom while my sister was out of town, and to check on the in-laws. And since it was short trip, my husband came with me. So I got to passenger Princess across the state of Pennsylvania and back, which was lovely. Now I'm headed back again next week. I'm going to be there probably more than here for the short term. So you'll be seeing me from my sister's kitchen, or I might have to move around our meetings, but I will be here next week from this room unless an emergency comes up. Fortunately, I can just make myself at home at my sister's house and, plan on what I'm going to sew there and stuff. And fortunately, it's only 400 miles. So it's a good day's drive there and back, but it's doable. It's not on the other side of the country. It could be much further away. But Mom just needs some company, so hanging out near there. Let's see. So what have I been doing? I finished a pair of socks in the car, and of course, they're upstairs. Sorry about that. So let me pull up the socks because I'm sure I have a picture. Downloads. Where did the socks go? I know I have a pair of socks. I know I took a picture because they're on my blog. Okay, we will plan B. We will look for the photo. So here we are. I'll share that with you. So there we go. I was making some socks, and I make shorty socks because I'm in heart failure. And if I have taller socks, they make my legs swell up like balloons. So I always make shorty socks. This yarn I got, I think this is a CC's wool from a shop in upstate New York, like west of Albany. It's the one close to my daughter's house. So I just finished those, and I finished those because I wanted to cast on those. So this yarn is a Lane's du Nord. I don't know how to say it. And I was doing a knit along from Twice Sheared Sheep. And I think someone was asking me what toe-up socks are. So I had done my traditional sock where I start here at the ankle and I work my way down to the toe. And here I'm starting at the toe and working my way up past the heel up to the ankle. So this sock was, I might have I might have been cussing a little bit because the heel was different than I'm used to, and the instructions weren't super duper clear. It was a free pattern, and they asked me to review the pattern, which I'm not going to do because it was free. I paid nothing for it, but it could have been clearer. But now I know what I'm doing, and I will make the second sock. Let's see. Let me stop sharing. So hello in New Jersey, Carol. And it's too hot for socks? No. No matter how hot I am, my feet are cold. So I wear socks most of the time. And my dream is a drawer full of handmade socks. So far, 2 pair. I mean, I probably have 6 pair in there, but 2 pair that work wearing under shoes, like can go into my wardrobe. You like my socks? Thank you. Did not bring the sock is in my purse with my knitting, and I didn't bring that in here. So that is my travel project. Like, I had a dentist appointment. I have another doctor appointment. It just lives in my purse. I could just whip out a pair of socks and start knitting. So it's just super easy to travel with. And if I'm going to be gone a long time, I'll take a second ball of yarn because I can knit for days on really thin needles, really small socks. Dina, you always have socks to wear or to knit? So I brought other knitting with me because I knit in the evenings, and I'm working on my grandson's sweater. So this is a really light blue. It's a happy blue, but it has a lot of gray in it. But it's a happy blue. It's not gray. But I'm down on the ribbing here at the bottom, and then I've got to pick up some sleeves and then go around the neck. But so he doesn't need it just yet because this is too big for him, and it's summer. So I'm in the clear on that one. Other things I'm making. In the morning, I'm listening to great courses. I subscribe to greatcourses.com, and it's like college lectures and stuff. And I'm sure it's not the same as a college degree, but stuff I want to learn. So I've never learned and been able to keep mythology. So like I know who Sisyphus is and I know who Zeus is type of thing, but I don't have all of that straight in my head. So I've been listening to this course on mythology. That's not helping. So while I listen to one of the courses in the morning, I've been working on my star mat that I got at Primitive Gatherings. And while I was away, I finished all 50 stars. So when I get a chance to fuse the backing on and finish it, I'll start stitching that. But since I didn't get that done yet, my morning project is now working on applique for Betsy, which is a quilt along from Primitive Gatherings. It's applique, but I had regular applique, not wool applique. I already had it prepped. So I will go back to wool applique, but the Betsy's a placeholder. So Dina, you have a box that your project for sewing with your friends and you leave it in your truck and you wear socks. Awesome. Yeah, I always wear socks. Now, if I'm wearing sandals, then I wear socks because I don't go there. So I do wear sandals sometimes, but there's always socks. So today I have on my Vermont Darn Tough socks instead of hand knit ones because none of my hand knit ones match this sweater. This shirt, sorry. Dress, whatever top, this piece of clothing, whatever this is. So yeah, I have a bunch of boxes of sewing that get left in different places so that I always have sewing to do. So I just left my sewing machine, which is over there, to come over here and talk to you. But what I was working on was my grand old flag, which is 250 of these blocks in red, white, and blue. They make a flag, like a 114-inch wide quilt. That's an American flag. Number one, I don't have a bed that big. Number two, I don't need another American flag quilt on my bed. I have other patriotic quilts. So I'm going to make all 250 blocks, and I think I can make them into 2 quilts. So the quilt would be 60 by 72, which would be 120 blocks. And then I'll make a second one that's another 120 blocks, and then I'll have 10 extras left over. But the first one will be just red and white checkerboard because I have a lot of reds and I have a lot of whites. And then with what's left over for the red and white, I'll throw in the blue and see what I can make. But after today, I'll have 200 blocks done, I think. 200, 210. Let me see where I'm at. Nope, I have 200 done. After today, I'll have 250 done. I'm sorry, 210 done. So I'm getting closer. I try to do 10 a day most days. So working on that and all the pressing and the trimming and stuff. But while I'm knitting that, while I'm sewing that, I've been working on listening to Mythos, which is a book written by Stephen Fry and read by Stephen Fry. And he interjects some humor and it's a lighthearted take, but it's about all of the Greek gods and stuff. So I'm listening to that, but I'm taking notes. I've got pages of notes I'm taking, just trying to keep all these names straight. Like where'd the Muses come from, and where did the Furies come from, and Cyclops and all of that. So I'm trying to learn, but listening. Let's see. Anne, you knit socks, but you don't wear them. I get that. I can see that. I have a book called Knitting the National Parks, and it's a different hat for each national park. And I've visited 3. I've finished 2 hats, but I don't wear hats. But I'm gonna make all the national park hats that of the parks we've been to, but I don't wear hats. So I get it entirely. My husband's like, but you don't wear hats. I'm like, shut up, not asking you. And he's fine. He doesn't care. But like socks and hats, that's like snack size knitting as opposed to people size sweaters. Let's see, your travel machine stays in the truck. It's a little 8-pound Janome. My 8-pound Janome is under my table right here. It stays packed, but it doesn't stay in my truck. It may go back to my sister's. I have a sewing machine there, but I don't know. Since I'm going to be at my sister's for 3 weeks, I might take more with me. I don't know. Yeah, that'll be 210 today. So today's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday, I won't sew because I'm busy. So by the time I see you next week, I should have all 250 blocks done. And that'll be nice. And then I can get out another big project because, okay, I told you I've worked on a bunch of little projects. This is my kitchen table project that got me sucked into wool. This is the most expensive doily I'm ever going to make, and I regret nothing. I'm having so much fun making it that if I burn it when I'm done, buy another kit and make another one, it's well worth it. It's well worth whatever money I'm spending on this because I'm just absolutely overjoyed making this. So this is called Pennies in Bloom from Primitive Gathering, and it's in their wool box this year. But I know it's going to be a kit when it's done with the wool box. So this was out January, March, May, July. Anyway, so I have 3 of the 6 boxes for the year in. So I'm behind, but I'm sewing fast, so I may be catching up. And I was really sad. I'm like, what am I going to do? There's only 19 blocks and I have almost 3 done. And I just have been working on them for a week and 2 weeks. Like, what am I going to do when I'm done with this? Like, my life will be over. And then I'm like, oh, I can just buy another kit. So, because I'm sure she'll sell it. Anyway, this is delightfully gorgeous. She sucked me in. I was avoiding the wool box, but this one. So I work on 5 things a day about my morning sewing, which is wool applique, whatever big project I'm trying to make a dent in, working on some machine quilting. I did finish a quilt, and I was working on basting up another one. Let me show you what I finished. Share screen, back over to here. Okay, so I actually did a long arm quilt because I needed a sample for a long arm class. And this, I grabbed out a quilt that is the quilt tops from my year 1, volume 1 of Color Blocks. Color Blocks volume 1. It's called Suitable for Framing. And I was like, oh, that's just a quilt. I have a quilt top done. I can film that and get it quilted quickly. So what I did, if you see here, the quilted wiggles are going up and down. But when I loaded it, they were going left to right because I didn't want to stitch a little, make a knot, stitch a little, make a knot. So I quilted this left to right on my long arm and then bound it. And now the stripes can go any way I want them to, which in this case are up and down. So there's the whole quilt that's on my blog, which if you go to debbiebrownquilts.com, you can see it. Now, click the blog button and you'll be able to see it. Let's see, Dina, you never worked with wool, but it's cute. I did it took 3 years of primitive gathering, complete following everything they do. I'm like, nope, don't need wool. Nope, don't need wool. Nope, don't need wool. And after 3 years, I'm like, okay, I'm in. So I teach for quilt shops, but I teach virtually, I teach in person, and I teach long arm, home machine, whatever. And I was teaching a class on quick and easy edge to edge designs. This one happened to have been teaching on a long arm. And I have a whole series of these that I have filmed inserts and I can teach them virtually. So if you have a quilt shop or a guild that wants me to teach, call me. We can make this happen. So not all quilts have to be Pinterest worthy. Like, oh my word, gasp, fall over on the floor, front of a magazine, look at this amazing machine quilting. Now, number one, I do work like that. Number two, I love to do work like that, and I love looking at work like that. But number three, not every quilt needs to be that way. If you get intimidated by seeing the picture perfect quilting, you're like, oh, I'll never be able to quilt like that, so I can't finish my own quilts. I don't finish all my own quilts that way either. Sometimes I do easy stuff. So I have a couple other quilts here I'll be adding to that class as I'm making them, just adding more photos as I get them, more videos as I can make them, because I just keep a folder of all the content that goes for each class, and it evolves over time. But it's such a joy to be able to put a quilt on, quilt it up, bind it up, and send it out into the world. So the only downside to doing that is sometimes the quilt gets done too fast. Like, I wasn't done working with it yet. I wanted to spend more time on that quilt. So yeah, that's why I picked a quilt top that I've made about 15 of that suitable for framing quilt, because I didn't need to spend more time with it. I was fine quilting it, binding it, and releasing it. So finished that. So I work on the wool applique, my big project that I'm working my way down on, machine quilting, my dinner time project, and then my knitting. It's kind of the various parts of the day that if I'm sewing, those are the things I'm doing at various parts of the day. While I'm working on my big project, like whatever big intricate project I want to finish up, in this case, it's these stars. My mind might wander. And while I'm making that, I'm like, oh, let me put something away. So I'm sewing and I'm tidying my sewing room at the same time. I can make 100 quilts for 20 years and I still won't find the bottom of this sewing room. Holy cow. How did it all get in here? I'm excited though that last week I found something. So I started pulling out things from under a table and I found this tote bag. And I'm like, what's in that tote bag? And it's something that I knew I was missing. So, shocking no one, Primitive Gatherings. This is called Triangle Gatherings. And I think she did a quilt. It was like Twilight Gatherings or Autumn Gatherings, whatever. She did a quilt along. It's free on her website, but the patterns are all in here. And I knew I started it. And I knew the book was with it. And I couldn't find it. I'm like, where is that? I want to do it because I know I'm missing a book as I have a bag here of all my finished. Did I just drop a bunch of squares on the floor? I'll grab those later. Of my finished blocks, and I wanted to put all my books together, so I knew it was missing. So anyway, apparently I only have 2 of the stars done. But to make a quilt that's 67 by 67, I think I only need 13 of them. And if I want to make it taller, I might only need 18 blocks. So this is going to be my next big project that I'm just going to try to make 1 star a day. and work my way down, and then I'll be done. And then I can pull out another big project, put it on the cutting table, and work on it. But it's going to be a much bigger one than this. This one's like a palette cleanser. So what I've discovered by going through my sewing room this way is I have so much stuff. Let's just say I have too much stuff. And I've learned that I'm very easily distracted. I'm like, ooh, pretty, I should try that. Ooh, I saw that video. Let me go do that. So I need to focus. Let's go back to a question. You've never knit. Is it hard to make socks? It's a skill. You can learn it. There's a pattern called my first quilt sock. My first sock. If you go to Ravelry.com, I'm going to look up the pattern, and then I'll pull up the pattern. Let's see, my notebook, projects. It is called Easy Peasy Socks for First Timers. And I will put the link in the chat. So knitting is addicting, says Anne, especially if you like to have something in your fingers at all times. Socks are not difficult, but generally use thin yarn and small needles, so they take a while. What she said. If you've never knit before, I would start like making a scarf, like knit purl. The socks that I made here were done with worsted yarn. So they were a little bigger. They were super fast. I knit the pair of socks in like a day. And the socks I made, let me find them and I'll share it with you. Share Ravelry. There we go. These are the socks I made. So let me see if I can blow this up. Hopefully that got bigger on your screen. So that is, it's called Blacklight Elvis or something is the name of the yarn. So the socks are supposed to glow under blacklight. This was worsted weight yarn, and they knit up much faster. But I had to open the toes a couple times because one, I was joining the toes in a not great way. And number two, the socks were too long. So I had to just peel them back. But those are thicker yarn socks. The ones I'm making now are definitely thinner socks that I'm worn under shoes. These are more bed socks. So there you go. Thanks, Anne. And here's a pattern. It's a free pattern. Ravelry Patterns, Easy Peasy Socks for First Timers. So if you knit and want to try socks, this pattern was actually really good. Like I said, I just did I'm working through a sock knit along with Twice Sheared Sheep. And I think Twice Sheared Sheep has great products. They may have great patterns. This one wasn't necessarily the clearest, and I won't recommend it to beginners. I might have been calling my daughter and her wife for advice, but the baby was not happy when I called, so they couldn't help. Fortunately, I have a friend who owns a knitting store. And she was sending me stuff, but I was driving through Pennsylvania and the cell service wasn't great. But I eventually figured out what I was doing and got the sock done by the time I got home. Pretty yarn? Yeah, socks are the thing I buy when I go to knitting stores. So there's a knitting store not far from my sister's house, as in closer to my sister's house than anything is to my house, because my sister lives near everything. I'm like 4 minutes from the main shopping area. So I can, in any restaurant, any store, pharmacy, whatever you need is right there. It's 4 minutes from my house. Nothing is 4 minutes from my house. So I do enjoy that, but I do also like living out here in the middle of nowhere. But anytime I go to a yarn store, I'm like, oh, I'll just buy one ball of yarn because I know I can make socks out of it. Now, when I go to Pittsburgh next time, the Steel Valley Yarn Crawl, it's like, that's what they call it. A quilt shop hop is a yarn crawl. It's 9 stores. So there may be some socks coming in my future because I've got 9 different quilt yarn stores to go to in the area. But I'll be there. It's a 2-week yarn crawl, and I'll be there for all of it and then some. So I'll be able to take off one day and go over here, one day and go over there, one day and go over here. So it'll be good. So sadly, talking about cleaning out and finishing things, my yarn intake is going up because I'm going to be going to 9 yarn stores, and that's rolling us right into Rhinebeck, which is the biggest sheep and wool festival in the States. And it's in my backyard, and I'll be there. And then I'll be at my friend's shop because she has other things with it that everyone who flies into New York City that's going up to Rhinebeck, like all the celebrity knitters, stop at her shop for meet and greets and sale. And she brings in special stuff. So my yarn acquisition is going to go up. I'm hoping my quilt acquisition goes down from finishing things. That's the goal. So I have this piece of paper and I put down handwork. I'm doing the Star Mat and Betsy, the applique. My focus project is the Grand Old Flag and those autumn stars. Machine quilting, whatever that happens to come up. My pennies in bloom. I have my knitting projects listed. That sock I'm finishing, the Storm junior sweater I'm making for my grandson, and then a random just a random scarf that I always keep on the needles. That's another grab and go project. It's made with needles that are about this big and yarn that's about this big, so that it takes forever. And then various things that I want to prep. Like I need to prep that mat so that I can get back to hand sewing. I need to baste a quilt so I can quilt it. My goal in my sewing room is everything that's not on this list needs to be put away out of my sight, because I get distracted. Because I'm like, oh, look at the scraps left over from this project. I should go make this and I could go do that. So what I have under my long arm, you know those storage ottoman cubes? If you put 2 cubes together, it makes a rectangle. I have the rectangle version of that, the size of 2 cubes. I have 9 of those under my long arm. And I got those instead of bins because for light protection. The light won't go through and fade my fabrics from the light from my windows. So I have 9 containers under there. Sadly, they're full, but I want to make best use of the space in there. And I want to have one that's full of my scraps, one that's full of my fat quarters, one that's full of quilts in progress, one that, and just they're segregated out that way. I have one that's full of handwork, one that's full of all these patterns using Daiwa bow fabrics. Probably one should be full of primitive gatherings. One that's full of scraps, one that's full of orphan blocks, things like that. I need to get in and work with those to fill them up and get it out of my sight. But when one of these is done, then I can go shopping for a new project and bring it out. That is what I'm trying to do. I have more stuff than will fit in those bins, sadly. But that's my goal. While I was away, I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos and stuff, at my in-laws' house, and all the videos on sewing room organization is how to display your stuff so it's pretty. I have too much stuff. It's never going to be pretty. And 2, I can't display my stuff because if I look at it, I'll want to do it. So I have to hide it all. Let's see. Dina, you have the same problem? Okay. Because I'm like, is that weird? Because no one talks about that if it's all out, you're going to want to do it. I have to hide it because out of sight, out of mind. So Carol, you need a long arm to store more stuff under it. You have a Sweet 16, not much room. Well, I'm next to my Sweet 16 and I have 2 bins of fabric. I have my sewing machine in my case. I have all of my thread bins that have all of my wool applique pearl cottons in here. I think I have 2 other baskets of stuff. Now, should I want to use this machine, I need to take out one of those so I can get my foot pedal out. But other than that, I have stuff stored under there too. But yeah, I need a pod, the portable on-demand storage things. I need one of those just to put everything in, to hold it there while I'm working in here and then go shopping in there. But I don't have a pod. I don't really want a pod, so I have to work my way through it. And I have to sew with blinders on. I'm in here going, ooh, but look, I have leftovers over here. I'm like, focus, Deb, go back to your work. Is that I've never heard anyone talk about that. They talk about how it has to be pretty and how you have to store it nicely and you have a photo worthy studio. I'm like, even if I had a photo worthy studio, it wouldn't stay that way because I would start working on that and that and that and that and ooh, pretty and squirrel and look. I'm a hot mess, is basically what I'm saying here. So, anyway, Carol, the socks are a happy rabbit hole. And Dina, yes, squirrel, squirrel. That is my life. But I'm not home very often at this season of my life, just because I'm in Pittsburgh. I would say a quarter to a third of the time, if not more. And it's not the same. I can't do the same sewing there. I can't film there. I can't machine quilt there. There's no space, and I'm not taking all my stuff with me, and I have stuff to do while I'm there. So I don't have tons of time, but I want to at least be making progress. So the progress I'm making is I have a clean cutting table that just has a tray basket on it that I have my current big project in that I'm working on. I have a clean pressing station that I can go press anything and baste my quilts. I have a little mini pressing station on one side of my sewing machine. I have a sewing machine in a small cabinet. And then I have a small cutting station next to my sewing machine. So my chair can just go there. And then I have my bigger ones. I have some floor. I'm trying to get more floor. I'm trying to see what I can do with those bins under the long arms to maximize the storage. That's kind of what I'm working on. Carol, pod, yeah, you made it here. You needed the lecture. I hoped it wasn't a lecture. I'm just telling you what my problem is and how nothing out there about sewing room organization seems to talk about this, that I have to hide it. I need to have one of those empty sewing rooms that I can work on one thing at a time. I've always made fun of people who start a quilt and finish it, like made fun of them in an admiring way. But now I kind of understand it, that I'm okay working on 5 or 6 different things, like hand sewing and my sewing in the kitchen, my sewing in the living room, my sewing in the car, and then the one big project I'm working on with machine quilting, which is my job. And that's 6 or 7 projects, up to 10 projects at a time that I'm working on. I'm really comfortable balancing that. It's the 1,000 other potential projects that I'm seeing because, oh, look, I have that fabric over there. And, ooh, I had a couple, look at that fat quarter bundle. Jelly roll, layer cake, kit from the store. Oh, my new wool box came. Ooh, my new subscription box just came. Oh, I'm overwhelmed and I'm undertimed. For someone who doesn't work a real job, I do work. I make content, I do teach. And at this stage of my life, caring for my mom is, I don't want to say work, but it's a time commitment. So my time is not as available as I would like it to be. So I just need to try to focus and finish stuff. Oh. Carol, you distract very easily. My sister. And hello, Carol. I'm glad to see you. Hello. I'm glad you're here. So let me see what else is on my list, because I write in my day planner what I want to talk to you about. Oh, I didn't bring it. Dang. Carol, you've cut it down to 5 projects at a time. I think I have like 6 to 10, and I'm comfortable with that. And I don't want to start another until a clear space on that list. But I also don't want to take the joy out of quilting by being so regimented and rigid that all quilting is a job instead of a hobby and a fun distraction. Laura, you've been putting the project in a shoebox. It's then a matter of finding what you want. Yeah, I'm fine shoving it in a tote in those storage ottomans that I have. And then I'll deal with sorting through each one if they're kind of filled by topic, like yardage, fat quarter pat, kits, things like hand stitching, things like that. I don't know. I will bring you along and tell you how it's going, but this has to happen. And this really started whenever I was away at the quilt retreat at Primitive Gatherings. I only had 2 projects with me. and I bought a third one there. So I had 3 projects to work on for the whole week, and that was it, and it was lovely. And the flat surfaces were flat, the ironing station was available, the cutting station was available, and I'm like, I need that at my house. So what I'm finding of it's going to take a lot to get that at my house, but I have some working areas. And I'll bring you along and tell you what I know, what I'm learning, what I'm finding. Like I found this kit that I was looking for. So yay, exciting. I'll let you know what else I find. Still looking for rotary cutting blades, the big ones that I lost in 2016. It happens to have been the night of the presidential election in the United States in 2016. Has nothing to do with it, but that was the last day I saw them. So that's why I remember when I lost them. Dina, you have 6 to 10. You have to do what inspires me that day. Yeah. And I'm allowing myself to obsess and say, oh my word, this is so much fun. I don't want to stop. I'm going to work on it until it's done. Great. That's great. What I'm not going to do is start 72 other projects, which I'm really good at. I have all these great ideas, and then they become great undone ideas. Maybe one room to store things in and another room to do the actual piecing and quilting. That's assuming I don't have fabric stored in other bedrooms and the dining room. So, yeah, I have a problem. But it's a plan. It's not a big plan, it's not a fast plan, but it's a plan. Do the quilt, finish the quilt, then do the next one. And if I find something at a store I like and want to buy it, I'm comfortable with that, but I just don't want to get squirreled by the stuff that I've already purchased from working in the quilting industry for 20 years. I've been going to quilt shows professionally for 20 years. I pick up a lot of stuff, and people give me free stuff all the time. Darn. I know. I'm not complaining. I love it. I love seeing what they give me. Laura, and the basement? That I don't actually have anything in the basement. I have my level and up. My husband has the basement and this level. I have my level and up. He has half of upstairs too. A little jealous with free stuff. Yeah, I know. I know that sounded like a complaint. I left a big cone of thread at a shop where I was teaching. It was a big cone of machine quilting thread. They're like, "Oh my word, you're going to forget your thread." I'm like, "That's adorable that you think I paid for that." Because people send me stuff and it's lovely and I love it. But I have a lot of stuff. And there's new stuff out that I also want. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. And barring that, I'm just going to have to muddle through. But I'll talk to you as I'm going through it, and let you know what I'm learning, what's working, what progress I'm making, what interesting thing I found. Someday it'll be those rotary cutting blades, which I have already purchased and replaced more than once in 10 years. So that didn't do it. Usually when you buy something, you'll find it. So when I was in Pittsburgh last week, I did buy sock yarn, but it's not in this room. It's in the other room. It's orange, and it's from Ireland. It's an orange sock yarn that I think I'm just going to mix in with socks. I have a bag of sock yarn that I have zero guilt about. Just buy yarn, put it in the sock bag, and whenever I'm ready to make a pair of socks, I'm like, ooh, that one. I'm fine with that. Wow, I covered everything on my list. Dina, you're my twin. I think our thinking style doesn't work well on YouTube, because do you really want to see the pit of despair of the piles of stuff that are in my sewing room? Because they're here. And the joy, the added joy of I'm disabled. I can't bend over. I can't pick stuff up off the floor. I can't move things very easily. I can quilt because I can stay in my chair or I can get over to my cutting table. But as far as picking stuff up and moving it, that's hard for me. So a lot of stuff stays undone. And I have a corporate husband who gets home at 8 o'clock at night, and I'm not going to ask him to do much. I don't want to bother him a lot. All my bending movements, like, okay, this morning, like yesterday, I did a load of laundry, and I have to do another tomorrow because my dryer is broken. So until that gets resolved, I have laundry hanging everywhere through the house. I have like I try to keep up with the mopping of the floor. I have a little robot mop, but I have to remember to run it in the various parts of the house and bend down and pick it up or find it when it gets stuck under a table. So I use up my bending on other things that make it hard in here. I did, however, text my husband today. I told him that if he wanted to quit his job, he could. He can't. That I got a notification from Amazon today that they canceled one of my auto subscribe items and refunded it a couple months ago. I knew that. And I got a notice this morning saying they made a mistake and didn't refund the full amount to me accidentally. So they're going to process another refund for me in 3 to 5 days. And they're going to literally give me 2 cents back. And I sent a copy of that to my husband. I said, in 3 to 5 days, we should be financially set and you can quit your job. So his answer was, I'll submit my retirement papers later today. Thank you. I said, we're financially set now. Happy retirement. Carol, take us with you. I plan to, because that's just what I do, is tell people what it is that I'm doing. I think my thoughts on the outside of my brain, as in out of my mouth. Storage. Another thing I have for storage, but I also have fabric to sell here, is I have those bookcase, the IKEA cubbies with the fabric cubbies in them. Those are full of fabric that is cut to sell, but those work. I would love to have a wall of those just to put my projects in. Carol, you can bend and lift now, but can't sit very long. Maybe we can get together. We could split it. That would work. I'll sit for you. You bend for me. And I'm grateful that I can sit. I lost the use of one of my legs, but it's my left leg, so I can still drive. So I have zero complaints in life. I mean, these are facts that make things more difficult. I put away maybe 30 items a day and make a decision that, I'm going to give this away at my next Quilt Guild meeting. I'm going to finish this one next. That pile of papers I don't even need in here anymore. So as I'm finding things, I can only make a certain number of decisions. If my back worked better, it's still my decision making would wear out long before my back would. So my decision making ability and my back work about the same length of time, which is about 10 to 30 items a day. So I don't have answers, but I've seen progress. Like I said, I've cleared off surfaces. I smack my hand several times a day. I may start showing pictures of things I didn't do. Like, I didn't start this. I didn't make that. And because I can't celebrate all the things I finished, but maybe I can celebrate all the things I didn't start. Like the quilt along from Lo and Behold that I desperately want to do. Scrap fabric that I'm finding left over from projects. I'm like, I could make something fun with that. That 3-yard quilt that I just saw the video on. I have 3 yards of fabric, that sort of thing. So what didn't you start today? Should we start celebrating those? What project did you avoid starting today? Because I avoid starting nickel quilts. I actually had to put Unity away. It's not on my top list, but I do need to get it back onto the list shortly because I want this bedspread for my mom. So it needs to go back on the list, but it had to come off temporarily. So what am I doing in the future? Outside of that, I have a bunch of virtual classes that I'm teaching through Bits and Pieces in New Hampshire on the Pro Stitcher, basic Pro Stitcher, turning borders, repositioning your quilt. I teach through Quilter's Corner at Middlebury Sew and Vac in Vermont. I'm virtually, so you can check with them. If you go to DebbieBrownQuilts.com and click my live teaching calendar, it'll tell you where I'll be next. I'm going to be in New Hampshire teaching at Bits and Pieces. I'm going to be in Pittsburgh in November teaching in the quilting needle, and that's home machine quilting because I've hooked up with a shop near my mom for the days, for being in town. I have a couple guild things coming up. So I have a very full and lovely life, And I'm frustrated with myself that I can't, that it's hard for me to focus. 57 years old and I'm just learning this about myself. I've always known it, but it's smacking me in the face right now. So that's what I'm up to. While I'm staying inside with 2 air conditioners running and enjoying my day. But I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'll be here again next week, but leaving right after that to go back to Pittsburgh to hang out with my mom. And I'll probably be taking some wool applique and some knitting and some cotton applique. I don't know if I'm taking a machine. I haven't decided yet. So I'll continue showing you what I finish, and maybe I'll start showing you things I didn't start, but that might be tempting you to start them. So maybe if I enable you to start them, I won't have to. See, you're wanting to do a quilted pink door fabric, but it's 26 months in paper piecing, and I'm not real experienced with it. I'm trying to decide the cost. Do I want to pay that? 16 months. Yeah, this is going to be the world's most expensive doily. I mean, like, whatever that original tapestry is can't cost more than I paid for this. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And it's not, for me, I'm not paying obviously for the doily. I'm paying for the joy I get every day of sitting down and doing this. A couple of these at a time. There's 19 yo-yos, no, pennies in each hexie, and then there's going to be 19 hexies in the thing. So I'm having a ball. And if I break it down into days of joy, it's cost less than Starbucks that I don't go to. So that's how I phrased it. I did have, and again, I did have the money to pay for it. We're talking, should I pay for it? Should I not? But it was a possibility. If I genuinely didn't have the money, I wouldn't do it. But this makes me ridiculously happy every day. When I'm cooking dinner and it's done, but I'm waiting for my husband to come home, or if he's piddling around at the dinner table and I'm done, I'll just sit and pull this out and talk to him while he's still eating or reading the mail or whatever. And it's just a real nice part of our lives. I do have a couple more wool projects under here. All of these, I have a couple more penny projects to pull out when this is done. And if desperate, I'll just buy another one of these because this is delightful. So I've ranted and raved long enough. I should go back. I got to turn my air conditioner off, to turn my iron on, to finish my 10 blocks for the day. I'm one? Not good. I'm only at 3, but most of that I'm fairly well along. So I only have 3 over here, but I might have 7 or 8 done. Go back, listen to this, listen to more of my Stephen Fry book on mythology, and just entertain myself like I do every day. Thanks for listening. Thanks for understanding that I have too much stuff and it just distracts me from what I'm doing. And I will be back here next Tuesday at 2:30 New York time. Until then, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, and happy quilting. Bye.